Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us here this morning. It's good to have some educators here this morning. Always good to have educators here at the People's House, the White House. I want to touch briefly on the situation going over on in Israel. I want you to say that my administration is closely monitoring that situation. Matter of fact, I'm having daily discussions with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Every morning there is I have a foreign leader call time in my schedule early in the morning where I do have a chance to meet up with via teleconference or phone with the various world leaders. So the last 2 weeks or so, it's been actually a morning chat with Prime Minister Netanyahu to see what more assistance he needs on his end and just assess the situation. So just let you know that we are closely monitoring that, and we will give whatever aid we can to assist Israel. Like I've said time and time again, we are 100% behind Israel. But we're here this morning to talk about education. You know, I've had the good fortune to be married to a full-time educator, and I want to say a full-time educator for over 20 years. Andrea has served in the classrooms as an elementary school teacher. Early on in our marriage, she wanted to teach summer school after teaching a full school year. She said at the time she did it for the extra pay. At the end of the summer school, as the fall term approached, Andrea was tired, not fully charged, and ready to take on another 9 months of school. How do we solve a problem like Andrea? And it's not just my wife, it's not just Andrea, but it's countless other teachers throughout our country. How do we go about doing that? Every year, they a lot of them work tremendous number of hours, and during the summer, a lot of people think that a teaching job is 9 months in school, 7:15 to 3:45. You're out of there, and summer's off. That's not necessarily true. I know districts require sometimes 25 plus hours of professional development, and oftentimes teacher pay is not where it needs to be to raise a family. And so, how do we go about solving this problem and giving our students in our classrooms the very best they deserve? Because you think about it, our students in our nation's classrooms, they are our future. So this morning, I want to talk about a plan that I believe will solve not only my wife's Andrea's problem, but many teachers throughout our nation. And that number one problem is teacher pay. And I'm under my plan called Back to Basics. One of the key cornerstones of that plan would be to increase teacher pay. Now you ask, how am I going to increase teacher pay, especially on the federal level? You're saying, isn't that overstepping your bounds as president? Shouldn't that be controlled by the states? And it will be controlled by the states, but what I'm simply doing is providing the funding for that. A lot of times districts are cash strapped and aren't able to provide significant pay increases. This plan, part of the Back to Basics plan, will provide money for that pay increase. The very first thing we must do is return the federal budget to the 2019 spending levels, reduce unnecessary federal programs, and use the difference to fund the increases. Now, like I mentioned, I understand teacher pay is not a federally mandated thing that we normally do on the federal side, but we will provide the funds that will be able to be accessed by the districts in order to get teachers more money. Because think about it, and let's really think about this morning. I know a lot of you guys in the audience today know what I'm talking about. Teachers spend upwards of probably 80 hours a week just at school, not to mention the hours at night they're grading papers, the hours at night they're doing report cards, the hours at night they're writing emails, the hours that they're having teacher parent conferences. They need to be paid for that. There are so many teachers in our nation that are living below the poverty level. They're struggling to make ends meet, and it's time for that to stop. And under my administration, education will be a priority. I know you've heard presidents in the past say that, but it will be a priority under Rogers' administration. The other thing we must do to better our education is restore a true curriculum to the classroom. We must get rid of this so-called woke education that is going throughout the country and return to teaching the ABCs, the history, the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, that's what we're missing. The key job of a teacher is not to teach a political agenda. The key job of a teacher, the key job of a district is to teach the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, the good, the bad, and the ugly of our history. I'm not going to stand here on this podium here today and tell you that the United States is perfect. We are not perfect. We've had some terrible things happen in our nation's history. But the way we avoid repeating those mistakes in the future is to teach them. That's how you learn, is by learning by your mistakes. We have to teach our children the bad things that happen. We have to teach our children about discrimination. We have to teach our children about civil rights and the wrongs that happen. We have to teach that so it's not repeated. We must return a sense of patriotism to our classrooms. You know, when I was in high school many, many years ago, I had a government teacher who was from a different political party, but he never tried to instill his party's agenda on his students. He taught you how government works and instilled a sense of patriotism and pride in you and a willingness to serve your nation. Matter of fact, my hometown is an example of that. Our mayor is the second female mayor of our city. And she was inspired by this government teacher. And now she is the second woman mayor in our city. And I'm very proud of Mayor Proctor for what she's doing back home. School nutrition is another element of my Back to Basics program. Every day throughout our nation, children get up, get ready for school, and arrive hungry. They go to school and oftentimes look at what is offered and throw it in the trash. Think about it. Think about mom and dad, and I know this is how this is. It's how it was when I was growing up. Mom and dad, now it's different from when I was growing up. I was given lunch money, and now it's on accounts, and you pay on computer. But imagine paying on computer and your son or daughter goes to school and throws what you paid for in the trash and telling mom and dad that it just wasn't good. We've got to improve school nutrition. And it's been tried several times. Under my administration, the First Lady will actually lead the efforts to improve school nutrition, to make the meals that are not thrown in the trash every day, but meals that are eaten every day in our classrooms. And the problem is when they throw these meals away every morning, they then go to class hungry, which is not a good thing when you're trying to learn. You know, and so by improving the menus, improving the options, or improving the choices, I think we will reduce the waste that school breakfast and lunches have throughout our nation. You know, we must also take the pressure off our classroom teachers while at the same time keeping our standards up. In many states in our nation, teachers are pressured to teach the test, not teach the actual subject. They are pressured to teach the test. Under my administration, they will teach the subject. Under a Rogers administration, the testing will continue, but it will be used as a measurement, not tied to the future of our teachers, but to see where our children are right now. And you think about it across the country, there were benchmark tests that were administered right after school started. And this gave teachers and administrators a opportunity to see where their students are in reading, math, the sciences. And what they're seeing is they're seeing some interesting data. They're seeing some data that's showing there was a little bit of a decrease, obviously from the days of COVID where we were locked down and schools were shuttered. But we've got to get these scores back up because our future is in these classrooms. Our future is in these classrooms. You think about it. When you go back to your classrooms, think about when you look at your students, you will see a future senator, a governor, a mayor, an astronaut, a doctor, a scientist, an engineer, and even a president. But those jobs are only possible if we teach them the basics and teach them a true curriculum that's not politically influenced. You know, this plan, Back to Basics, I know it's going to hit a lot of traction. There's going to be a lot of people that are opposed to it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being open for discussion. And I want it to be discussed. But the key cornerstones of it, I think, are important. Increase teacher pay. Get better school nutrition. Get it where our kids don't throw that food away. And make it where the standardized testing is used as a benchmark of success, not a report card on the teacher. And I think by doing that, we can truly prepare the next generation of students for the opportunities ahead. May God bless you. May God bless our troops. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much. Thank you, guys. Thanks.